Hi everyone, listen. Mm, It's quite, the music is quite loud. Like, try to finish my challenge today. It's not the challenge, but it's uh, cause I stay up, like stay awake all night long last night. So it's like now, quite, I have to close the control. Pet is pet. If I lose pet, I will pay up on graduation day in college with friends with and with me. The bet that I could become a millionaire within 10 years. And if it happened, then they would all go on a cruise together. And I could pay for everyone's trip. If I didn't happen, then I could still go on a cruise together. But they could crew together and pay for my trip. To me, it seems like win-win situation. Either I would be a millionaire or I would be a few or get a free cruise. Either way, I would be happy, so I agreed to the bet. This was early 1999, and I went all through to Florida to take a 3-day cruise to the Bahamas. I decided to invite some of my other friends as well. So we ended up with a group of about 15 people. I had never been on a cruise before, so I was pretty amazed at how big the ship was. There was a nightclub, 10 bars, swimming pools, and 5 all-you-can-eat restaurants. We had a great time drinking, eating, partying, and then drinking, eating, and partying some more. It was like a mini college reunion. The the Inuit, the Union, the Union, the Union without all the boring costs. We all decided to go to the nightclub on the final night of the cruise to drink and dance the night before, the night away. In the eye of all my friends on the cruise, I was everything that I that they thought would define success and happiness. My friends commented that as I seemed more self-confident and congratulated me on selling the company to the world, selling the company to Microsoft. At 1 a.m., the DZ announced that it was the last call and that the bar and club would be shutting down soon. As everyone headed head to the bar to get one last drink before the night was over, I stood by myself for a moment to avoid the rush and to take in the moment. If someone has told me 4 years ago that I will be a millionaire and on a cruise ship celebrating, I could not have believed it. Yet As the day flowed, the music uh, was so uh, was sad, was sad, was sad, Lalita. Zumba. And foreign cheese and toast one another. A nagging voice in the back of my mind repeatedly brought out the same silent one, brought out the same present that had been there ever since I saw silent walk with Sanjay back to the office the day the Microsoft deal closed. Now what was that? And then there was the follow-up questions. What is success? What is happiness? What am I working toward? I still didn't have the answer. So I went to the bar, ordered a sort of food cart, and clinked glasses with Sanjay, figuring out the answer could wait until later. After the cruise, I felt like I was on autopilot, waking up late, making an appearance at the office for a few hours, and checking my email, then heading home early. Everyone, everyone's in a while, I kept skip going to the office altogether. I had to. I had a lot of free time and I didn't know what to do with it. So I had a lot of time to think. I already brought all the things I wanted. A place to live, a big screen TV, a computer, and a home theater system. I started going to Vegas every other weekend to play poker. I wasn't playing for the money, but as well about the challenge of figuring out how to beat the game. Poker is the only casino game where you're playing against the other players instead of the house. So as long as you're better than the average player at your table, you actually can win in the long run. But most of the free time was spent just being introspective and thinking. I didn't need more money. So what was it good for? I wasn't spending the money I already had. So why were I staying at Microsoft, fasting in peace, trying to get more of it? I made a list of the happiness spirit in my life, and I realized that none of them involved money. I realized that building stuff and being creative and inventive made me happy. Connecting with a friend and talking through the entire night until the sun rose made me happy. Trick or treating in the middle school with a group of my closest friends made me happy. Eating a baked potato after a swim made, made me happy. Pickle make me happy. Although for that one, I'm still unclear why. I think it's just because they are obviously, ob- ob- obvious, obviously delicious and I enjoy saying pickles. I talk about how easy we are all brainwashed by our society and culture to stop thinking and just assume by default that more money equals more success and more happiness and ultimately happiness is really just about enjoying life. I thought about how I enjoyed creating, building, and doing stuff that I was passionate about, and there was so much opportunity to create and build stuff, especially with the internet still exploring and not enough time to pursue every idea there. And yet here I was wasting my time, wasting my life, so that I could make money, more money, even though I had all the money I ever needed for the rest of my life. Loss was going to change about the world. We were on the eve of not only a new century, but a new millennium. The world, the world was about to change in a dramatic way, and I was about to miss out on it so that I could make even more money when I already had all the money I would never need. Then I stopped thinking to myself. I started talking to myself. There will never be another 1999. What are you going to do about it? I already knew the answer. In that moment, I had chosen to be true to myself and walking away the the all the money that was keeping me at Microsoft. A few days later, I went to the office, sent my goodbye email to the company, and walked out the door. I didn't know exactly what I was going to do, but I knew what I wasn't going to do. I wasn't going to sit around letting my life and my work pass me by. Others thought I was crazy for giving up all the money. And yes, making that decision was scary, but in the good way. I didn't realize it at that time, but I was turning point for me in my life. I had decided to stop chasing the money and start chasing the passion. I was ready for the next chapter in my life. Mm. Chapter 3, Diversity, New Venture. Now what? Many of us let language change all around at the same time when we all trying to answer the same question. I just made a lot of money for the sale of the company to Microsoft, and I was supposed to be basking in the fruit of our labor. But many of us didn't have any great answer. I had thought back to my childhood fantasy. I wanted to go to work for the CIA in a Zimbabwe room, become a robot inventor, and find a place to live with a movie theater and take away downstairs. I no longer wanted to be a spy or a robot inventor, but living above a movie theater still appeared to me as luck would have it. I have I happened to be driving around one day and saw that AMC was opening up uh, a big new a new a big new movie theater complex right in the heart of San Francisco at 1,000 Vaness. The There will be 14 different teachers and right by the lobby of the teachers 53 brand new lots and were about to go on sale. And now I learned that there was a Taco Bell less than 2 blocks away. I knew it was a sign. This was going to be my future home. I learned that the real estate developers had actually taken over an entire city block and combined two buildings to create this space. In addition to the loft and movie theater, there was also a gym, an area designed to the future restaurant and some commercial space that hadn't yet been leased out. I told other I told other ex-exchange about the space. I thought back to my college years. Then there was a core group of us who always hung out together. We could create our own adult version of a college dorm and build our own community. It was an opportunity for us to create our own world. It was perfect. One by one our crew started moving into the lofts. Alfred ended up living 2 doors down from me. By the time Oliver had moved in, we collectively owned 20% of the loft in that building and controlled 40% of the boards of the homeowner association. It's what like we were playing our own private real-life version of Monopoly, and nothing was compared to the spontaneity, spontaneity, spontaneity and convenience of being able to stroll over in pajamas to a friend's place and or to the movie theater. While we were in the process of moving into our new homes, Alfred and I decided to start an investment fund. A friend of our a friend of ours has a pet frog. In college, he dared us to name the fund an incubator, an, e- an, e- an incubator venture frogs. So, of course, we did. We ended up raising 27 million from ex-Lincoln employees and started meeting with a lot of different companies. We decided to turn one of the one-bedroom loft into our office and set up a couple of computer and phones there. One day I received a voicemail from a guy named Nick Swimman, uh, who said he has just started a website called suicide.com. His idea was to build the Amazon of shoes and create the world's largest shoe store online. To me, it feels a suck like the poster child of bad internet I use. Excuse me, I need some water. We decided to turn no, other company was selling pet food and furniture online and losing large sums of money in the process. In my mind, it seems like there was no way people would be willing to buy suits online without trying them on first. I reached over to the phone and just as I was about to delete the voicemail, Nick threw out a few statistics. Footwear was a 40 billion industry in the United States and 5% of that's what already being done by paper mail order catalogs. This was also the fastest growing segment in the industry. I did some quick math and realized that 5% was equal to $2 billion. It didn't matter whether I could be willing to buy suit without trying them on first. What mattered was that consumer was already doing it. It seemed pretty reasonable to assume that web sales would one day be at least as big as catalog sales. Alfred and I decided it was at least worth a meeting. As we had the informal meeting with Nick in our loft. He was dressed casually, wearing what boss shorts and a t-shirt, and he looked like he could have still been in college, just stopping by chat with us during his lunch break. We didn't pretend we had a real office, and Nick didn't pretend that he had much more than an idea, and it was clear that he was passionate about the opportunity. Nick told he has just graduate, graduated from college a few years earlier. Nick, summer, Nick summarized his entire pitch in the sentence. Footwear is a 40 billion in the dollar industry in the United States. A quick catalog shows commerce. Oh, no, no. It seems likely that e-commerce will continue to grow, and it was like that people will continue to wear shoes in the foresee, foresee a future. Do you have any experience on the industry? Alfred asked. No, but I walked around the shoes show in Las Vegas a few months ago, and some of the people said they thought this was an interesting idea. Maybe you should find some idea, uh, find someone with footwear experience. I said, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. He replied, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Nick replied. We decided to stay in touch and agreed to set up another meeting once we had found someone to join the company who has experience in the footwear industry. I also suggested that Nick uh, Calling the website suicide seems too challenging, and its limited business from eventually expanding into other product categories. How I got the original idea by buying a pair of shoes shouldn't be so hard. I remember thinking store after store, mall after mall. I couldn't find a single pair. This wasn't as if I was living in small town USA either. If I couldn't find shoes worth buying in the Bay Area, I could only imagine the kind of trouble people has elsewhere. At the time we dated, they were just a bunch of mom and pop stores on the the web that didn't make shoes shopping any easier. So I thought, why not create a single place online that people could come to find exactly the shoes that they want in exactly the right size and have a swatch on the doorstep in a few days. This was such a simple idea. Why wasn't anyone doing it? This was brilliant until discovered the the reason why. The I discovered the reason this wasn't going to be easy. The shoe industry was extremely fragmented and not very tech savvy. Uh, but if I could figure out a way to create a networking among the industrialists, I could figure out this way to create a network among all the separate shoe store, and that could be the solution. I went ahead and researched the domain name suicide.com with the site ready to go. I just needed one other thing shoes. I headed down to the local evidence. This has a lot of mosquitoes and I too sleepy. Sorry. But I need to finish the challenge, so try my best. I headed down to the local shoe store, took pictures and of their good stock. Every time someone posts something on the side, I buy it from. For a big believer in technology, I could haven't found a more primitive way to do it, but it worked. People start buying shoes I didn't have the faintest clue about working up the shoes industry, but I knew. But it worked. People started buying too. I didn't have the faintest clues about working up the shoes industry, but I knew I was onto something. Even though I had never bought a pair of shoes to mail order statistics group, there was a ton of people doing it. I stopped thinking, hey, this is a good idea. I started believing in it. Somehow I had to make it work. Alright, actually, I want to read more, but it's like I need to sleep a bit more. So, yeah, thank you for listening. I'll